Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Mythlook with your host Nitin Nair. In our last episode I mentioned that we have a surprise due for you, and yes, it is true. We have decided to introduce another mythology and something that is a little more popular among enthusiasts and also experts who have been studying it for a number of years. It's not only that we are introducing this particular mythology, but also the format is slightly different. So over to the surprise. It is my pleasure to introduce Roman mythology into our whole mix. The second surprise is that for the first time in over 50 episodes of Mythlook, we are featuring a double feature. That is, two characters in one podcast. Now, the reason we are doing two characters in one podcast is because both these characters have always been talked about in the same breath. Whenever they are depicted, they are always together, and every single depiction or artistic expression has always been one where both were involved. Yes, we are talking about the founding fathers of Rome, Romulus and Remus. In Roman mythology, the twin brothers Romulus and Remus created the city of Rome. The killing of Remus by his twin, along with other tales from their story, have inspired artists throughout the ages. Since ancient times, the image of a she-wolf suckling the twins has been a symbol of the city of Rome and the ancient Romans. The story of the twin brothers is believed to have been told before the founding of Rome. This is because the earliest written account of the myth dates back to the 3rd century BC. The pair were children of Mars and Rhea. The story is often told by authors such as Virgil, where they are born in order to create Rome. Modern scholarship approaches the stories of Romulus and Remus, with the retelling being based on the various versions presented by Roman historians. Other narratives suggest that these are popular or folkloric traditions, while some remain inscrutable in their meanings. Both Romulus and Remus were often described by poets and painters to be well-built, tall, and had the classic physical features of the classic Mediterranean man. They had dark curly hair and were physically dominant in stature. They are descendants of the Aeneas, who were responsible for discovering Italy. Romulus and Remus were related to Aeneas through Numitor, who was a king of Alba Longa and their mother's father. Before they were conceived, his reign was usurped by Amulius, who was a brother of Mars. Amulius inherited the treasury of Alba Longa from Numitor. He wanted to avoid a conflict of power, so he killed the male heirs of Numitor and forced Rhea to become a Vestal Virgin. Vestal Virgins were priestesses of Vesta, the patron goddess of the hearth. They were charged with keeping a sacred fire that was never to be extinguished and to take vows of chastity. Some legends suggest that Mars appeared and laid with Rhea, while others suggested that Hercules was her partner. It is also possible that she was raped by an unknown man and that she gave birth to her sons. It was custom for a Vestal Virgin to be condemned to death if she betrayed her vows. However, since Amulius feared the wrath of Hercules or Mars, he did not want to stain his hands with the blood of her children. Amulius ordered the execution of the twin brothers by throwing them into the Tiber River. He believed that since they would die without being killed by the sword, they would be spared from the punishment by the gods. He ordered a servant to carry out the death sentence, but in every scenario of this myth, the servant takes pity on the twins and spares their lives. The servant then places the twins into a basket onto the river Tiber, and the river carries the boys to safety. This part of the story has been a common thread in almost every single mythology around the world. In Indian mythology, you have the story of Karna the warrior who was similarly sent out along a river in a basket. In Japanese mythology, you have the Momotaro, and every single mythology, like I mentioned, from around the world has a case where a baby is sent floating down the river in a basket. Is this coincidence, or is this just inspired mythology, or was this actually transferred from one region to another and people adopted it as their own? We would never know. Romulus and Remus being characters that were exclusive to the Roman mythology, and among the few characters in the mythology that was not influenced by the Greeks, they do not have any alternate names. The city of Rome was named after the victorious brother Romulus, who fought his brother over the location of the new city. The twins were not blessed with any powers or superhuman capabilities. They, however, had established themselves as leaders with a command over people within their armies. The story of Romulus and Remus have been told and retold from various perspectives in modern cinema, television, and have inspired numerous books and novels. There have also been claims that the biblical story of Cain and Abel was heavily inspired by the legend of Romulus and Remus. It gives us great excitement to start exploring Roman mythology as we go along, and maybe a few more surprises up our sleeve as we progress on our journey with Mythloc, both the website as well as the podcast. So please continue to support us by subscribing or following the podcast on any platform that you listen to. And if you like a particular episode, do click the like button as well, because it goes a long way in helping us get the word out there among all our listeners. Thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Mythloc. This is your host Nitin Nair, signing out by reminding you once again that Mythloc is the home of mythology.